Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan and welcome to my channel, Jonathan's Diamond Painting and Stuff. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back to me, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here today. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, looking at the surroundings now, this is another first on my channel. It will very much come under the Stuff title, but it's also tying in with my #Spooky Autumn 2024 event running on my Facebook group, Jonathan's Diamond Painting. See the details below or at the end and beginning of the video, where we're doing a little challenge each week alongside diamond painting. So I wanted to start a bit basic. This is the first time I've ever done a video like this, so do bear with me, but I'm welcoming you to my kitchen. Yes. And I'm very much hoping I'm able to crop out all the stuff on a shelf on this side, because in order to get my kitchen in perfect nick for this video, I obviously had to shove loads of stuff onto a shelf, as you do. I'm honest, at least. Yes, so this isn't my recipe. I've taken it from a lovely lady called Karen Grieve on the Grow Me website, and she and I will link it all below. But she's from Larder Love, I think her company is, or title. Yeah, I just thought I'd do something basic, like the scones I do, but I thought I want to make them autumnal. I was going to do pumpkin, but it's not quite pumpkin season yet here, and we did get tinned pumpkin quite readily available in the UK. I'm sure you can get it in America very easily, but because of that, I didn't want to make it too difficult for everyone, so I decided to do it with some spices instead. And actually, someone mentioned apple, and I thought, oh, and then these are spiced apple scones. So I've never made these before, and I'm making them now with you. They'll be fine, Right, okay, so it says to preheat the oven, but all recipes say this, don't they? Preheat the oven right at the start, and then it's on for ages while you're actually making the recipe. So what I tend to do is, once my recipe is in the stage where I can start getting it onto the tin, I then turn my oven on. Sometimes maybe a little bit before if it's for a cake, but I certainly don't put it on now because it's a waste of energy in this day and age. So, but I've got it all ready to go. It says get a line of tray, but I think I will need more than one tray. This has 450 grams of flour, which says to me it's quite a big quantity. It says it serves 16 people. So yeah. But the first thing we do is we combine the wet ingredients. So we are going to be cracking this egg into here. I like to use a knife, and of course I've got a tiny bit of shell in there. It's not to worry, you just fish it out with a spoon. Just make sure you have a little look before you whisk all the yolk, because you'll never find it otherwise. So that's one large egg in the UK. I don't know how your eggs are in American sizes, but that's, I think we have size 1, 2 and 3, but we tend to use mostly large in our recipes here. But, and we're getting 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. Now you can use corn syrup if you're in America. And the recipe actually calls for ginger syrup, but I don't have any. It's not the sort of thing I have in. Okay, right, so I'm just pouring this in. I'm just using my little tiny frozen spatula that I got given for Christmas, and it's actually very useful, even though it was for a child. Just to, you know, spread out in all those tiny containers like this. So just making sure not wasting any. and this is the sugar for the recipe. So you don't have that much sugar in scones, and it is pronounced Scones in bone, if you're wondering. So yeah, just scraping that all in, like so. Let's leave that to one side in case I need it again. And of course it's going to tip over, isn't it? Okay, and then we have 125 mils of Greek yogurt for buttermilk. And I just realised I made a mistake because I should have measured this before I put all the other ingredients into the jug. But no worries, I've got another jug which is very good for measuring thick liquids. Now it's actually quite handy because this is, we make our own yogurt with our Instant Pot that you can probably see behind me. I mean, you can get yogurt makers, but the Instant Pot, which is like an electronic pressure cooker, does it really well. But this yogurt was quite runny, just because it's a bit too much. Just because we had to start. Basically, the way our yogurt works is basically it's really good. But each yogurt you make, it gets a little bit runnier, and then we start again with another fresh yogurt from the supermarket, and then so just to make sure. Tiny bit. Just essentially is exactly. Yes, so anyway, we went on holiday and then Alan just used the last of the starter, so this is a bit runnier. That's fine. Okay. But any Greek yogurt from the supermarket will do as well. I just happen to have one we've made here. Okay, we're going to whisk that together now. Of course I have a whisk for all occasions. Got a teeny tiny one. I've got a little bit bigger one. And I've also got this big one, but you can only use that with glass or metal containers, not that will scratch. So I think for today I will use this medium-sized one, and so just going to whisk all that together. It was like using a whisk, not a fork to whisk eggs, because I just find a fork doesn't quite whisk the egg properly and you just get large bits of yolk. Okay, there we go. So that's that bit done. And we're setting that aside for now. We'll come back to that later. Now we get the big bowl. Okay, big bowl. Right, and we add the chopped butters. I haven't actually chopped it yet, but I'll do that now. Not like Delia Smith, where she's like, do this, and she has everything all ready in like little plates and everything all ready to go. Just think, how long was that taking you to actually get? Well, I suppose her people have done it for her. She wouldn't even have to do it herself. For any international people that don't know what I'm talking about, Delia Smith is one of my heroes. She's a national treasure. She's still with us, but she was very, very prominent in the, I guess, 50s, 60s. Going all the way through to the early 2000s until she retired. She did something called Delia Smith's Complete Cookery Course, which is a really basic book, massive Bible though for many of us, and how to do everything. But the thing I treasure about her, which I do every year, is her Christmas collection. And this year I might bring you into the kitchen for when I prepare some of those recipes. Because there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of soaking of fruits and everything, you know, so hopefully I'll be able to do that this year. Okay, so we need 100 grams of butter, so you can use a digital scale if you want. I just happen to have this out today. Okay, I'm just going to see how much that is. Oh, don't put your butter straight in your way, just put a bit of kitchen towel because then it saves getting sticky. More than that. Actually quite a bit more because this is a 250 gram block, I should have remembered. I don't always cook with butter, but I thought for this sort of recipe it's okay. It's just I hate how long it takes to get to room temperature, because normally with a cake you need it soft, and it just annoys me having to get it ready that quickly. Just a tiny bit too heavy. Okay, just a sliver of that. Like I said, you don't need to have a digital scale with scales like this. And actually, my scales that I have here are rechargeable. So I have got digital ones as well, but you can just turn this knob and it recharges it, so there's no battery involved. So they're really handy to have now, so you don't need to worry about batteries anymore. Okay, so that's the butter measured. Okay. I'm just going to chop this into little squares, because I imagine we're going to be folding this in. Now, as I was saying, I don't like working with butter, but because this butter has to be worked cold, I don't need to wait for it to get to temperature, so I don't mind. And also, I just think, well, traditionally, I suppose, I always thought it was healthier to use margarine than it was butter, but nowadays I think it's either or. It's just the quantity you eat that matters. It's all fat, you know, but they change their minds all the time, which is better for you. So, but yeah, traditionally we were brought up to think butter was bad. My mum and dad certainly ingrained in me to have margarine as much as I could, and that kind of continued through adulthood, you know. But for baking, I use Vitalite, which is it's like based off sunflowers, I think, reduced fat. Sorry, not reduced fat, you know. Okay, so I actually skipped a step, so apologies. I've got that ready now though. So sift the flour, salt and baking powder and cinnamon into a large bowl. Yes, sorry, the one sieve I want is like wedged at the back, you know, it's always the way, isn't it? Okay. Okay, right, so 450 grams of flour, so just get my weight. 2, 4, and 50. I'm just going to measure the flour into here, and this is plain flour using because we're using baking powder. Now, for those of you who don't totally understand what baking powder and bicarb do, and cream of tartar, I think cream of tartar and bicarbonate of soda both together make up baking powder. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think this is right from what my husband told me. I think bicarbonate of soda is alkaline, and so if you have acidic recipes like banana bread, which you need to reduce the acidity of the acidic effect of the bananas, then you just put a bit more of that in. Acidic effect of the bananas, then I spilled that a little bit. Then you use a bit of bicarb to reduce that, to basically neutralise the acid in the recipe. But also it has the effect of raising agent as well, and baking powder all together added to plain flour will turn it into kind of self-raising flour. And why not use self-raising flour, you say? Well, sometimes you want to control more how much rise you have in a recipe. So it just all depends. Okay, so that's that bit sifted. Right, and then I need a pinch of salt. Of course, there's a tiny bit of salt in the container. I don't have a salt crock, because we only really use salt like this in grain things for the rest. And then baking powder, as I was discussing, of course it's in the cupboard that I just went into. And we need 4 teaspoons of that. Well, I said it's a big recipe, isn't it? So the only reason I've not reduced this recipe really is because it had 1 egg in it, so it felt a bit like I'm not going to put half an egg in something, so I thought I'll make the full quantity. But the thing with scones is they're easy to freeze. Oh, sorry, I was meant to do that, wasn't I? 2, 3, 4. There we go. And I think that just leaves the cinnamon. My hands are clean, so you can use a spoon though to push that through the sieve. Cinnamon, a little bit of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Okay. I know a perfect chef would have or baker would have all these things ready. Just need half a teaspoon, that's a tablespoon. My husband is using my spoons again. There we go. It's okay, he's allowed. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. There we go. I admit there's not a lot of cinnamon for that size of recipe, but we do have the apples as well, so which will bring in some flavour. Okay. And then we just add the butter, and then we rub it in until we get a breadcrumb-like mixture. I just chuck all the flour over the butter as much as I can so it doesn't stick to my fingers, and then I'm just kind of squeezing the butter into the flour and just changing the position, spinning it around as I go, and you just keep going really until it resembles those breadcrumbs. Sometimes I rub it between my hands like this. Gets smaller. I don't like getting sticky and messy and everything in baking. I don't know why. I like making stuffing balls. Like I always ask my husband, Alan, to do it because I'll just make it flat. I'll just spread it into a dish flat if I make it, whereas Alan will actually make it into balls. I'm trying not to speed up this video, because I just feel like if I'm talking to you as I'm doing it, you can be doing it at the same time. So hopefully this will be kind of quite a cool as we go video, so yeah, that is all roughly resembling breadcrumbs. Just make sure I've got all of it. it's not hard science, you know, but you can see that's more breadcrumb-like texture, and you just don't want too many lumps of butter in there. I imagine we'll probably add in the apples next, but we'll see. That's ready. I'm just going to rinse my hands. So, yeah, I'm going to do the apples. Oh, and it actually says includes the skin, so I don't actually need to peel these, so I'll put those away. Some of you may not like that, you know, like want perfect grated apple, but see if there's any major imperfections I'm just going to slice off. And these are eating apples, so these are Braeburn apples in the UK, but any kind of apple that you would eat as a snack, not cooking apples, because cooking apples are too tart for this sort of recipe. Okay, and I've got this filled out, so I'll use it, and then we're just going to grate. Just checking. It doesn't say final course, but I would always do course for this sort of recipe, particularly for apples, because it's just going to be very difficult to manage, I think, grating it that small. Okay. Add the apple to the mixture and stir it in. So I'm just adding apple. Large metal spoon and just stir all this apple in. Get in there and make sure that the apple's not clumping together. The next stage we'll deal with it a little bit as well, I think. Okay, so what we do now is, now I can't iterate this enough, do not add all of the liquid at the same time. So we'll take the liquid that the yoghurty, eggy mix, oil, but we don't add all this at the same time. She said you won't need all of it. Okay. Okay, and because I think I'm just trying to figure out if there's a place where here you brush the tops with some of it. So I'm just gonna pour some of it. Now we're just going to make a dough with it. Still a little bit crumbly, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit more. I'm just really kind of squeezing it around, moving it around to incorporate all that dry ingredient. With scones, you need less than you think, you know, in terms of liquid, but it's better to be drier than wetter, but obviously you don't want it falling all over the place. I think I need a teeniest bit more, judging by how much falling apart. Just gonna take it round a little bit more. So close. Basically, you're forming a dough, so it should be coming away from the edges of the bowl quite cleanly, which it is doing. So I think that is just about right. There's a few dry bits falling off, but I'll probably be able to wipe them up and absorb them into it. See, so it's, you just knead it a little. Not a lot, you don't actually need to knead a dough like this very much. It's not like bread, it's not got any yeast or gluten in it that you need to activate. And then I'll just get my mat out and I will roll this out. I don't like putting things directly on my work surface just because it usually tends to stick and everything, you know, but you'll need a floured surface, so you need some of the flour that you've been using. Just usually sprinkle a bit like that. And then we just put the dough onto it and roll it out. Okay. And they need to be about an inch thick. And at this point, I think I'll put the oven on. And always know your oven. If it runs hot, if it runs about the same temperature as the recipe. My oven runs 20 to 30 degrees hotter than it should do. So if it's like a convection oven, say, I have a fan, so you always turn the fan down from what convection says. So if it's a convection, you know, it's 200 degrees centigrade. apologies Americans, I know you probably work in Fahrenheit, then I would turn it down to 180 or maybe 170 if you are extra worried about how hot your oven is. But this recipe says, yeah, it's 220 degrees C or 425 degrees Fahrenheit, or gas mark 7 if you're really old fashioned. Fan oven. I'm just going to get my rolling in. And cookie cutter. It doesn't actually say how big to make them. Now ideally you've got really tiny scones, but because this is such a big mixture, I'll probably make them a bit bigger. So I could do this one or this one. So that'd be a full-size scone. Let's go with medium. So this is a 6cm scone cutter, and this one, if you wanted big ones, you could do like that's 7.5, I think. Yeah. Just a little bit of flour over the top. Apologies, I didn't think if you had a cutter or not. I mean, if you don't have a cookie cutter, I imagine you could just cut out little squares and then just round them off before you put them in the tin. Probably as thin as I'd like to make it. So, but there is raisin agent in this, so we're just gonna cut them all out now. And oh, sorry. If you don't have any Teflon sheets, I found these really useful Teflon sheets. They're just washable and they last forever, and they're just amazing non-stick things. If you don't have any of them, then just I put some baking parchment or grease-free paper on the tin, and I'm just cutting these out. This dough is really well formed actually. This is probably, depending on what you're putting on these scones, these are quite healthy, I think. Get my... So, you don't need to leave too much space between them. The scones don't rise incredibly, just a little bit. Well, they don't go outwards, not like cookies which kind of spread out as they cook. Okay, and that's the first tray. Okay, I'm just going to squinch up all that dough and make it into a ball, and then just roll it out again. Okay, just a tiny bit of flour. So that is 16 now, so it is about bang on what the recipe says it will do. But I think I've got a couple more in here. Maybe gone slightly thinner because I was just worried it wasn't going to make the amount I needed. But okay, and then it says brush the tops with the leftover eggy mix. So I'll just move this and I'll show you how we do that. This is like a big brush, so you just put it around the batter a little bit, and you just spread it. And actually my oven is not at temperature yet, so that was a good decision, you know. It's nearly there, I think. So mine takes about 7 minutes, I think, to reach temperature. So it's not the quickest, but it's not the slowest either. I'll never win Bake Off, but I do think I can bake proper basic baked goods, but it's just yeah, it's just I've never desired to do Bake Off at all. I don't actually really feel it's proper baking most of the time. It's a lot of show-off chefery. That's just me. Oh, and it's just got to temperature, isn't that wonderful? So eggy mix. Oh, scatter over some demerara sugar. Oh, that's. I'll just get that. Leave the demerara off if you want a slightly healthier snack, or if you want these to be savoury. There's very little sugar in these, so I think we could have either jam or cheese on them, to be honest. Okay, so let's put them in the oven. It says 15 approximately, or until golden and a little skewer comes out cleanly. So I imagine they'll need the full time, but we'll see. And I will be back in a minute with the ready scones. Okay, these are most definitely ready. I gave them the extra time because they felt a bit too soft for me. Don't worry about the brownness, that's just the sugar. Not burnt. I think these look really good actually. Let me just check with the skewer. Coming up clean. Yeah, they're ready. Okay. Just going to pick tongs, transfer all of these over to here. In a minute I will try one. Well, okay. And of course, always remember to turn the oven off. Okay, so I'm just going to test this one. Scones you can actually cut with a bread knife. Yeah, I thought it was undercooked for a second, but it's the apple in it. It smells really good. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of spread on that. Let's see what they're like. Beautiful scone. In the words of Ned Flanders, scrum-diddly-umptious. So thank you for watching my very first cooking video. I hope it was okay, and I really hope you have fun baking these. And if you're in the autumn event, you know, on my Facebook page, please just post your progress. I'll put an album up before this goes up for people to post their pictures, you know, of their own scones. You know, I thought I'd do something basic, and I might do something a little bit more advanced towards the end of the event, but yeah, these work really well for me, and I hope they do for you too. I hope you like this video. If you did like this video, consider dropping a thumbs up. And if you like my content in general, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I am also on Twitch with the same handle, Jonathan's Diamond Painting. And all my live content is over there at the moment, although I do share to YouTube as well. I prefer you to get the best experience you can on Twitch. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now!